I've heard a lot about this brand, and I am extremely curious, and I'm excited to bring you not your typical micro brand. And even though the name Silent is on this watch, it actually screams quality. Introducing the all-new Jeanneau Silent Service Submersible. And right off the bat, this timepiece gives me a high impression of quality. Let me start off by giving you some behind-the-curtain information. When I film my macros, I don't do one watch at a time, I do a handful. And when I filmed this watch, I was filming with a couple other micro brands and a major brand, but every time I went back to pick up the Jeanneau, I would get that feeling and think, man, that's nice. Every time. So the in-the-hand feel is excellent. Now, who is Jeanneau, you may be asking? Well, they were created in 2011, so they are a very young brand, and they are owned and operated by a watchmaker machinist, and they are hand-built to order in America. That's special and a big differentiating factor. Most micro brands are designers, excellent designers that just send their specs to a factory in Asia and get their watch made. Now, when you look at this watch, you're going to see some similarities. Rolex Submariner vibe. But the case, bezel, case back, and crown are all CNC machined in America and then hand finished by Jeanneau. Extremely laborious, and you can definitely tell because the quality is fantastic. We got high polish on the sides, and you have that gorgeous rough brushing on the top of those lugs. And that reminds me of the 5-digit subs, the best subs ever made. I prefer this type of brushing over the new satiny smooth brushing that you would see on newer generations of Rolexes. The bezel is extremely grippy, sharp but not too sharp, and the design was inspired by a cross-section of a US Navy submarine. The insert is sapphire, and there are two options. You can get a 12-hour, 12-click bidirectional dual time, or the one I have here today, a dive timer 120-click unidirectional. Now, speaking of that bezel, let's have a listen. Woo. Oh, wow. All right, so the bezel, the best way to describe how it feels is woo. So there you go. That's the description. I love the bezel. It's smooth, buttery, and yes, it reminds me of a Rolex Submariner, almost exactly. Now the crown is 6.9 millimeters, and it's a screw-down crown, giving the Silent Service 300 meters of water resistance. It has a clutch system, and it screws down flawlessly every single time. So just like that bezel, the crown, the haptics, the feel adds to that high impression of quality because it is a joy to use. Now let's do those dimensions. I got 40 millimeters in diameter, bezel 41 millimeter, secret measurement 31 millimeters. Okay, so even though it's a 41 mil watch, it does wear like a 40. It wears a little bit smaller than its size indicates. You guys be the judge on my 6.5-inch wrist on the faraway shots. We have a thickness of 12 millimeters even, including that large beveled sapphire crystal with 3 layers of high-grade optometry, anti-reflective coating, and it shows because the clarity on this crystal is extraordinary. We got no drilled lugs and a lug-to-lug of 47.3. Very nice. The bracelet is solid end links with solid links, 20mm tapering down to 15.5. It does use screws, and we have a fully milled clasp fold over with on-the-fly quick adjustment. And the quick adjustment feels solid and smooth, the way it clicks in and out of position. So that impressed me, very nice. So overall, the bracelet is as comfortable as a Rolex bracelet, but the watch itself is superior to a Rolex watch in comfort. Why do I say that? Well, Although they both have 300 meters, the Rolex Submariner caseback is sharper and sticks out further down. The Submariner floats about 1.5 mil above my wrist because my wrist is not squishy and it's not flat. But the Jeanneau has a little bit more of a rounder caseback, and this caseback hardly protrudes down like the Submariners. I just found it really comfortable and it sat flat on my wrist. Now let's have a quick look at the dial. Hand applied forged indices. And I love what they did here. I have never really been a fan of the Mercedes handset, but I love the mil-spec handset. So this is a home run for me. And with that new baton style indices, it suits the mil-spec handset much better than the round indices on the Submariner. And now the finishing. The hands could use some smoothing on the side, like what Monta does after the rhodium plating, but it's not a big deal. And the dust level in here is pretty impressive, especially on a black dialed watch, which is so easy for my camera to see. This one is very clean. So well done, Jeanneau. And I know most people are not going to loop their watch, but just knowing that that extra effort has been put in, you know your watch has been cared for, and that's a good feeling. Now let's check out the lume. We got powerful BGW9 Swiss Superluminova with that awesome blue glow. It looks really good. You can tell this one has a healthy application and the lume will last a really long time. Now let's check her out on the time graph. We got a Sellita special grade. If you're used to ETA, that's the Elabor grade. It's a 26 joule, 28.8 VPH smooth sweep hack hand wind automatic, and it's regulated to 6 weeks, 6 positions. Now that's impressive. They make sure it's broken in and running perfectly before they ship it out to you. So no surprise, look at these numbers. -1 second a day over 300 amplitude with 0 beat error. Now let's do 12 down. To see the positional variance, how will this watch actually perform when you wear it? We got -1 and then 0. We did get a small drop in amplitude and a little bit of beat error. Now we have +1, and the fourth and final round, +1. That is superlative performance. So here is the $1 million question. What does a hand-assembled, high-quality, milled out in the USA superlative timepiece cost you? Well, this one has an MSRP of $14.99 USD, and that is absolutely worth it. But right now it's still in the phase 2 pre-order. So this no date is going to cost you $1,149 USD. So that's about 350 USD savings. And the promotion is also on the date version, $12.99 USD, and the date version with Cyclops, $13.99 USD. So let me know your opinion down below, and if you liked this video, then you will love the 2 videos on the right of your screen right now. And I'll see you in the next one.